The information provided on this podcast is intended for general informational and educational purposes only. It is not intended as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. While we discuss topics related to vegan health, diet, and fitness, always consult with a qualified healthcare provider or registered dietitian before making any changes to your diet, fitness routine, or lifestyle, especially if you have existing health conditions.
Welcome to Good Vegan Meal, the podcast for lifelong vegans, people wanting to become vegan, or those interested in vegan living. We're here to make your lives better by giving you the information you need to succeed in your compassionate vegan lifestyle.
Today, we're plunging into something so many of you deal with, whether you're a parent, caregiver, or just, figure out your own food preferences.
Right.
We're talking about picky eaters.
Yeah.
Specifically, picky eating when you're trying to bring more plant-based foods into the mix.
Big topic. Lots of questions there.
Exactly. If you've ever felt that mealtime frustration, the battles, worrying about nutrients, or just wishing you could make food that's healthy and that people actually want to eat,
Yeah.
well, you're in the right place.
Definitely.
So, for this deep dive, we've gathered a whole bunch of sources. We've got popular vegan recipe ideas like Pinterest, YouTube.
That fun stuff.
Yeah, but also practical advice from vegan dietitians, parenting experts, even some insights from animal advocacy groups on, the mindset shifts.
A really broad look.
Our mission today is pretty clear. We want to give you actionable strategies, real ideas, genuinely delicious ones, to turn that mealtime stress into maybe some culinary curiosity.
Yeah.
Make plant-based eating work, even for the toughest critics.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Well, it's fascinating, first off, just how common picky eating actually is.
Right. Seems like everyone knows one. Or is one.
Exactly. And it looks so different for everyone. Our sources show this huge range. You've got babies turning away from certain textures, squash.
Oh, yeah. Been there.
Toddlers who absolutely cannot have their peas touching their potatoes.
Classic.
Or even adults. Like Anne Bean from Feed Them Plants is very open. She's tried beets dozens of times. Still not her thing.
All relatable.
It's a very human thing. But what Anne Bean and others point out, and this is really insightful, is that the label itself, picky, can actually be kind of problematic.
How so?
Well, calling someone picky can sort of box them in, right? It creates this tension around food automatically.
Ah, I see. Sets up an expectation.
Exactly. So the advice is more about reframing it positively. Think like, potatoes aren't your favorite yet.
Ooh, I like the yet. Hopeful.
Or, I know you usually like your tomatoes blended smooth, but they're a bit chunkier in this sauce today. It acknowledges their preference, without judgment, without locking them into that label.
That's a really key shift, isn't it?
Yeah.
Moving from a fixed label to, an evolving preference. Okay, so what does this all mean for someone who's maybe thinking about going vegan or already is, but they're facing these kinds of food preferences?
Well, there are just so many layers to why someone might be selective about food. You've got age, genetics, personality, culture plays a role, how you were fed growing up, and then sometimes actual medical or sensory issues, which Veggies and More touches on.
Okay.
So when you bring in a plant-based diet, for some people, it can feel like another layer of difficulty.
Yeah, I can see that, like restricting things further.
Kind of. Farm Sanctuary talks about this reluctant vegan idea. Sometimes it's rooted in that old conditioning, that meat is the only real protein.
Right, the center of the plate thinking.
Or maybe a perception that plant-based food just won't have enough flavor. Or even food FOMO, that fear of missing out on favorite dishes.
Food FOMO, that's a good one.
But here's the encouraging part. These are often just misconceptions now.
Because things have changed so much.
Dramatically, the whole world of plant-based eating has just exploded. The idea that you're giving up delicious food by going vegan, it's pretty much outdated.
Okay, and this is where it gets really exciting, right? For your taste buds.
Exactly.
Because the sources just make it so clear the innovation in plant-based food is incredible. That whole fear of missing out. It's largely a myth because the alternatives are often genuinely fantastic.
They really are. Not just substitutes, but great food in their own right.
Think about burgers. Craving that juicy burger. You've got amazing plant-based patties now that mimic meat really well.
Like Beyond, Impossible, those kinds of things.
Yeah, or even just really good black bean burgers if that's your thing. And pizza night. forget about it.
Never.
Vegan cheeses have improved so much. You can get mozzarellas, provolones that actually melt properly.
Yeah.
You can make any pizza you want, basically.
Margarita, loaded veggie supreme, whatever you like.
It works.
Absolutely. And the point isn't really to list every single brand,
Right.
It's more that almost any comfort food, any familiar dish that you or maybe a picky eater in your life really loves, there's probably a fantastic vegan version now.
Mac and cheese.
Right.
Meatballs.
Yep, mac and cheese, meatball subs. Some sources rave about specific recipes. Lasagna, chicken noodle soup.
Comfort food central.
Pretty much. The innovation means you can usually satisfy those cravings without feeling like you're compromising on taste or texture.
And it's not just the big main meals, is it? The sources were full of other ideas.
Oh yeah, snacks, appetizers, breakfast, tons of options.
Like imagine a really warming, protein-rich vegan chicken noodle soup on a cold day.
Perfect.
Or those vegan pretzel bites with a spicy mustard dip. Sounds amazing.
Totally. Or for breakfast things like pumpkin pancakes or these really fluffy chickpea scrambles instead of eggs.
Okay, so the key takeaway here is variety and availability. There are plant-based answers for almost everything.
That's the core message on the food front.
Now, you mentioned hiding veggies earlier. There was a bit of nuance there, right? Some sources suggest smoothies.
Right, like the vegan meal plan mentions hidden veggie smoothies as a way to get some quick nutrients in.
Seems like a good hack.
Well, it raises a really important question. A smoothie can be a quick win, nutritionally speaking, but what's the long-term effect of always hiding food?
Okay.
The Vegan Kids Nutrition blog brings up a crucial point here. Try not to over-rely on hiding foods.
Why is that?
Because if you're always sneaking things in, it can actually get in the way of a child learning about different tastes and textures on their own terms.
Makes sense.
And, if they figure out food's being hidden, it can even damage trust around meals.
Oh, didn't think of that.
So, smoothies. Great as an occasional boost, maybe. But probably not the main strategy for getting kids to accept new foods.
Right.
The real goal is helping them learn to genuinely enjoy a variety of foods, not just consume them without knowing.
That's such a critical point. The boost versus the long-term strategy. It really highlights that how we offer food is just as important, maybe more important than what's on the plate.
Absolutely. Which leads us straight into the whole art of feeding, beyond just the recipes.
Yeah, creating that positive environment.
It's fundamental. A big rule from Feed Them Plants is never criticize the food. Ever.
Even if you, the adult, don't like it.
Especially then. You model politeness.
Yeah.
Kids can learn really young to be appreciative. Even if they don't like something, they can find something positive.
Like what?
Ooh, this smells interesting. Or just, thanks for making dinner. They can learn to say, it's not my favorite, politely, without being critical.
Why is avoiding criticism so important?
Because voicing that negative first impression reinforces it. It makes it harder for them to change their mind and accept the food later on.
Interesting. Okay, so respect the effort. What about the pressure to actually try things? That's a big one.
Huge. And the guiding principle here is no pressure trying.
Easier said than done sometimes.
Maybe, but crucial. The Vegan Kids Nutrition blog advises serving really small portions of new or less liked foods, like tiny. The smaller the better, they say. Avoid overwhelming them.
Okay.
And always, always make sure there's at least one food on the plate you know they like and will eat, a safe food.
Like apple slices next to the new lentil stew or something.
Exactly. Something familiar and comforting. Serving components separately can also help noodles separate from the sauce, for instance. Lets them eat around things more easily.
What about the polite bite rule? Some people use that.
It can be encouraged gently, but forcing is a definite no-no. Instead, you might guide them calmly, like, I'll get you some more grapes as soon as you finish what's on your plate first. We try not to waste food. It connects actions and consequences without turning it into a battle.
You mentioned that not liking a food yet idea earlier. That sounds optimistic, but how do you keep that up when a kid rejects something for the 10th time? It can feel pretty discouraging.
Oh, absolutely. Patience is probably the hardest part, but it's essential. Food preferences genuinely change over time. A lot.
Really?
Yes, it can take 10, 20.
What?
One source said even 50 or more times offering a food before a child might even try it, let alone accept it.
50 times. Wow.
That's why framing it as not liking it yet is so powerful. It keeps the door open. And another huge factor, maybe the most effective, hungrier kids are less picky kids.
The empty stomach strategy.
Basically, yes. Limiting snacks an hour or two before meals makes a massive difference in their willingness to try what's served. Feed them plants, puts it perfectly. Hunger is truly the best sauce.
Love that. Okay, so that's managing the food itself. What about the atmosphere, the dining experience? Can changing that help?
Oh, definitely. Changing the environment can work wonders sometimes.
Like how?
Eating outside on a picnic blanket, setting up a small kid-sized table, even just letting them help chop veggies at the counter instead of sitting formally at the table, it reduces that feeling of pressure.
There's positive associations.
Exactly. And don't be afraid of healthy condiments. Salsa, mustard, a little soy sauce, things that let them customize the flavor can give them a sense of control.
Good tip.
And maybe the most important environmental factor, involve them. Let kids help choose meals sometimes, pick out veggies at the grocery store, stir the pot.
Get their hands dirty.
Yes. The Vegan Kids Nutrition blog really stresses this. Connecting them to the process of making food significantly boosts their interest in eating it.
All these strategies seem to point towards shifting the control a bit, right?
That's exactly where this leads. It brings us to a really foundational concept in feeding therapy, highlighted by Veggies and More. It's called the division of responsibility.
Division of responsibility. Okay. Sounds official.
It was pioneered by a dietitian named Ellen Satter, and it fundamentally changes the power dynamic at mealtimes.
How does it work? Like, the parent provides the options and the kid chooses. Is that the gist?
That's pretty much it. Yeah, it sets out really clear, separate roles.
Okay.
The parent's job is to decide when meals and snacks happen, where they happen, and what foods are offered. A variety of healthy foods, including things the child likes and maybe some new things.
Right. Parent handles the logistics and the menu.
Exactly. And the child's job is simply to decide whether they eat the food offered and how much of each food they eat.
So no clean your plate club.
Definitely not. It's about trusting the child's internal cues for hunger and fullness. It reduces stress for everyone involved.
I can see how that would.
It teaches kids to eat because they're hungry, not because they're being pressured or bribed. And it stops certain foods from becoming overly desirable just because they're restricted or dreaded because they're forced.
That sounds great in theory. But for busy families, doing meals and snacks every 2-3 hours, that sounds like a lot of work. Is that realistic?
It's more about establishing a predictable rhythm than being rigidly tied to the clock every single day.
Okay.
So practical tips that support this include having that regular-ish schedule, trying to keep the eating place free from distractions, so no TV or iPads at the table.
Right. Focused eating.
Keeping meals relatively short, maybe 20-30 minutes max. Eating together whenever possible is huge. Kids learn so much by watching others eat.
Modeling.
Exactly. And repeating the main point. Keep offering new foods alongside familiar ones again and again without any pressure. Acceptance takes time, lots of exposure.
So if that's what to do, what are the big things to avoid?
Well, we touched on some, but it bears repeating. Avoid bribing. No negotiating 2 more bites of broccoli and then you get dessert. Avoid using food as a punishment or a reward.
Yeah, that whole no cookies until you thing.
Right. Also, try not to praise kids excessively just for eating or shame or guilt them for not eating. All of that undermines their own internal motivation. It can actually make picky eating worse in the long run.
Okay. What else?
Avoid labeling foods as good or bad. Just offer a variety. Let them learn to navigate choices naturally. And definitely avoid those mealtime distractions we mentioned. TV, tablets, phones. We want them tuning into their bodies, not tuning out.
Got it. Focus on internal cues, not external pressures or distractions.
Precisely. Because all those tactics teach kids to eat for external reasons, not because they're actually hungry or full.
This naturally leads to a big concern many parents have, especially with vegan diets. Are picky eaters getting enough nutrients?
It's a valid question. And yes, for kids who are very selective, there are certain nutrients we need to be more mindful of, as the Vegan Kids Nutrition blog points out.
Which ones should be on the radar and why?
Primarily, we're looking at calcium, zinc, vitamin E, vitamin A, vitamin D, and protein.
Okay.
These are crucial for growth and development, and while they're available in plants, picky eaters might avoid some of the key sources.
So where can we find good plant-based sources of these?
Thankfully, there are lots. Chia seeds, for instance, are little powerhouses good for calcium, zinc, and protein. Sunflower seeds, calcium, vitamin E, protein. Pumpkin puree is great for vitamin A. Hummus offers protein and zinc.
So it's about finding sources they will eat.
Exactly. And if you are genuinely concerned about intake, maybe tracking what they eat for a few days using an online tool like Chronometer can be really illuminating.
Just to get a baseline.
Yeah. And if you see consistent gaps, that's when you talk to a healthcare professional, a doctor or dietitian about whether supplementation might be needed.
Good advice. Now, while most picky eating is just a phase, are there times when it's something more serious? When should parents seek professional help?
Yes, absolutely. Most picky eating is normal, developmental, but there are definite red flags that signal something else might be going on, something needing professional assessment.
What kind of signs are we talking about?
Veggies and More lists several. Things like abnormal growth or noticeable faltering on growth charts, difficulty chewing or swallowing properly, actual pain or consistent crying during meals.
Okay, those sound serious.
Vomiting or diarrhea consistently after eating certain foods, extreme anxiety or really intense sensory reactions around mealtimes, or having a severely limited list of safe foods, maybe less than 15 or 20 total.
Got it.
If you see any of those signs, it's really important to reach out to your pediatrician or find a dietitian who specializes in pediatric feeding issues.
That's really helpful clarification. Right. Okay, this has been incredibly insightful. Just to recap the big picture, the main message seems to be picky eating is pretty normal, usually developmental. You can navigate it even on a plant-based diet using patience, positive strategies, and importantly, delicious food.
That's it.
We talked about creating that positive, pressure-free meal zone, the power of that division of responsibility.
Parent provides, child decides.
Right. And just the sheer wealth of creative, tasty, vegan options available now.
And remember, adapting to plant-based eating, even with selective eaters, it's more doable than many people think.
Yeah.
By consistently offering that variety with love, without pressure, you're building a good relationship with food. And often that actually leads to a wider palate down the road.
It takes time.
It takes time. But as we always say, knowledge is most valuable when you understand it and actually apply it.
Absolutely. So as you, our listener, reflect on all these strategies, maybe browse some recipes, here's a final thought to chew on.
Okay.
What single rule or habit around food, maybe in your own life, or how you approach family meals, could you gently challenge or reframe this week? Just to foster a bit more joy, a bit more exploration around eating.
Nice prompt.
We really encourage you, pick one new strategy, maybe one new recipe from today's deep dive, and just give it a try. You might be surprised at what happens.
Thanks so much for tuning in to today's episode of Good Vegan Meal. If you loved what you heard and you're hungry for more, head over to our link tree at linktr.ee/goodveganmeal. There you can grab our free PDF 30 high-protein vegan 5-minute meals packed with quick recipes and full nutritional stats for every meal. Perfect for busy days and plant-powered gains. And if you're ready to take your vegan cooking game to the next level, check out our cookbook's 125-minute vegan meals for kids' lunches, a school lunchbox lifesaver, 185-minute vegan meals, and 7 weeks of high-protein meals with meal planning made simple with grocery lists for each week. Grab your goodies at linktr.ee/goodveganmeal, and we'll see you in the next episode.